And I'll just take a moment for station identification. Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Conversation, theconversation.cc. I'm going to pass the co-hosting stick to Summer, Peter, Linda, and Christopher, and then I'll be, or does someone want to be host? I think that might actually be important. Anyway, volunteer if you want to be host. Okay, Summer Rose, I'll make you host. The rule is don't leave without making someone else host. And Summer Rose, would you please make me co-host? And also Peter, Linda, and Christopher, and Jay for that matter. Seems super cool. Anyway, and I will be listening in for a few minutes, and then I'll be bugging out, but I'll leave it's recording on my computer, so it'll be saved. Jay, so great to meet you. Look forward to hanging out more. Like Summer Rose said, we do this every day. Fridays, we start at 7 a.m. and we go for 24 hours. That's the 24-hour block party. So make sure you don't miss that. That's super full information on that on radish.org. Otherwise, we're here, like Summer Rose said, every day at noon. And we just we keep the campfire going, but then we go intensive on Tuesdays and Fridays. And ultimately, our goal is to get to 24/7. So there's great stuff happening all the time. That's true democracy. And that's the new form of governance, is us coming together at the campfire and working our stuff out together. Love you all, and see you soon. Thanks so much. Thanks, Summer Rose. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.
Thank you, Jamin.
Radish.org.
Radish.org and theconversation.cc.
Right. So I guess the point is that we do have power. You know, we have more power than the government. You know, when we join together collectively, you know, every man, woman, and child for peace on the planet, you know, we'll have peace. You know, and when we get all the religions, the Catholics and the Jews and the Pope and the Dalai Lama and everybody to stop and pray for peace and invoke, you know, world peace, you know, something great is going to happen. You know, time is going to stand still. And, you know, I question, why would anyone not want to do this? People are living on, you know, unfathomable conditions. Everyone needs to pray for our planet.
Mm-hmm. And I hear you on the everyone, and I'll say and remind us that luckily we don't need everyone. You know, a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens is all we need to change the world. That's the Margaret Mead quote. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. Think of the gay rights movement. Think of Blacks not being slaves. I mean, yes, we're still dealing with insane amounts of systemic racism, but in the sense, you know, we are still moving forward as a species and evolving, and it's not because everybody's on the same path. So the only reason why I say that is because the idea that everyone needs to be on the same path is just really daunting, because there's so many people who are just not there, and they might not get there until, I kind of feel like, you know, all the consciousness in the world is this giant pool that's just all disconnected. And the evil powers who think they be, they're pretty darn connected. So they're able to affect everything else, the ripple, and throw these little connections out so that the individual bubbles are connected to this bigger vision. Those of us who are the light workers aren't yet as connected, but if we get connected with an agreement of what our platform is and we're actually working towards it, then we'll actually be the dominant vibration, the dominant thought, the dominant message that gets to be rippled out to those individuals who are just kind of living by default, I would say. Living by whatever's being thrown in front of their face is how they live. What's that?
You were saying it is true that the dark force is more organized. You know, like the light is all over here and over there, and you're unified, starting to, you know, change that kind of thing with this technology, so we can get millions of people on board online instantly. That's powerful. But our thing is not once. I heard the Pope was calling for world peace every once, and that was it, like for one day. You know, like what do we have to take LSD to realize that one day is not enough? You know, we should do it every day. We should do it every moment of every day. We should be, thank you for helping us, protecting us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, we should pray more.
interesting about movements. There was somebody who did a talk recently. I was on another call and I didn't listen to the talk, but she gave us the little download. And she talks about how movements, they wind up getting more center because of the curve phenomenon. There's the bell curve and there's the people that are pushing the envelope, the people that we're dragging along, and then the masses that are willing to kind of come. But because like the radical movement is first, like, everybody involved, there's only 10 people involved and we're all radical. So we are the curve, it's us, like we are on, but then we invite people and then they come on and they drag the kind of curve out because they're not the full on radicals. And that tends to water down the message of the movement. So this is an interesting phenomenon that just happens because, again, we don't have everybody thinking the same way, thinking the same solutions. So I think the solutions is sometimes where we get a little caught up with our ego, like my solution is the way, I know better than you, and everybody jump on my thing, and da-da-da. Where if we just have a vision of what we want to feed everybody and everyone be housed,
Peter,
hold that vision energetically in meditation, then that's how we'll get there. Like just vibing it. Like that's what the Earth's energetic systems and heart math works on. We don't even need to be thinking it, visualizing. We need to feel it. If I just can sit there for 5 minutes, like all beings are fed and we all have a home and we're happy, and just believe that and get my whole frequency there, and we can shift into that space collectively, we'll open our eyes and it'll be done, kind of thing, because we're just energy that creates the material world. And I don't know how it would just be done, but there's like, maybe then in that next one we go to work, start building them, like, or maybe we could visualize it into reality. I don't know how powerful we are if we actually are united.
My project, it's a business, but it's kind of more like a project as well. It's called Light Touch, and it's about manifesting, through invoking the blessings, using the magnetic principles, because we're energy. So if we send out a magnetic principle to the universe that it recognizes, then it will draw to ourselves the beneficial outcomes that we're seeking. I'm wondering how I get this to shift to myself. So Light Touch, it's all about invoking spiritual wellness, invoking money, invoking a loving relationship, invoking healing for the planet and our children. And people spend too much time discussing everything. Discussion is one level, and then there's like spiritual influx of beneficial forces that can, angels, intervention, higher consciousness, that can really change things. People don't know, when you ask for a miracle every day with doing Light Touch, you're actually setting yourself up to receive miracles. And miracles make you look like her, all smiling, happy. Yes.
Lot to get to the other side. I'll tell you, I've been through my share of stuff. And just having to forgive and trust are two big things, and the self-love. It took a long time for me to cultivate self-love,
Yeah, and they keep testing you. People test you. Even your friends, they test you. They're supposed to be, your friends, and then you say one thing wrong. I realize people expect me to be perfect all the time. If I'm not perfect, that's what I hear about is, well, you weren't perfect. It's like, well, I'm a human. It's kind of hard to be perfect all the time. But
that's why we both agree the platform is far more important than either of us individually. The platform is the collective agreement for us to be able to move forward with or without us being here. So I'd love to know more about, I know your ground, what are some of your ground zeros for if you were the president? What would America look like?
Well, America would look like everyone would be attending Congress. assuming there's no COVID going on. Everyone's in Congress,
Oh,
everyone's
wait,
in.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just have to let you know that Christopher came here with the expectation that you were going to be perfect.
That what?
That you're going to be perfect. So.
Oh, right. Well, I kind of am, but
Yeah.
doesn't always, you know.
We just don't see it. It's our fault. We just didn't have clear vision.
Yeah, well, perfection, it's a vibrational state. It's a state of spiritual wellness where you're vibrating, you're clicking, you're doing service, and the universe is responding. So I do believe in perfection, but it's a high vibratory rate.
And requires just a slight redefining of how we've defined perfect in the past. And and I like what you were saying there too, Summer, is like, I am perfect and you're still on your way to realizing that, but P.S. you're perfect too. Right?
I think if you're just willing to be on the path, you're perfect. If you really know we don't know it all, I could be wrong. I am wrong. I know I'm wrong about certain things that I'm completely not, I don't know where I'm wrong. So my being willing to be here and be fine-tuned and finessed by my tribe and trust you all, I think has a big factor in being perfect.
I'll just say that being right is highly overrated.
Right? So much responsibility comes with being right. Then they expect you to be right about everything. And then everyone's asking you what to do. And then you got to go give them answers. And they do something wrong. And it's all your fault.
Sorry.
Thanks for your contribution, Danny.
Or we could just eliminate the concept of right and wrong altogether.
Very Eastern thought. It's a very Eastern thought. Yes, I do like a little bit of the old Buddhism myself. I went to church for 12 years and, it's only after I learned to start watching my thoughts more, there's a lot of stuff go, that, we're trying to get rid of stuff instead of allowing things.
Mm-hmm.
But, I have a program, I call it a guest worker program, because we can't just let people into the country not knowing who anyone is, because they could be not good people that want to do harm to our country. So, instead of like rejecting everyone, we let them come here, we let them build a wall. If we need a wall built, if we need super highways built, we let people come in and we teach them the language, and we build housing centers out in the desert. This is some of my thoughts. We even take refugees and, people that are in prisons in North Korea, let them come over here and, we'll build communities in the desert, homes for everybody, and teach them our language and teach them skills. So I think that's better than turning everyone away at the border. At least the people can have food and shelter and be treated like civilized human beings. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I definitely agree with, man creates borders, God doesn't. So I would like to have our borders open for people to come. And I definitely agree that, there's this idea that who knows, they might be coming in for nefarious reasons. So, vetting people to some extent is important. I love the idea of lie detect everybody, right? Lie detect me, why not? It would be nice. Totally joking, but if there ever was going to be like a mark of the beast, let it include, a censor of whether people are lying or not. But yeah, I really think what it comes down to, like that's one of the main purposes of the conversation and Radish and what we're doing here is to just get to ground zero, which is food for everyone, gardens everywhere, and housing for everyone. But food is the most important thing. We eliminate food, and then the need for food or the scarcity around food, people just feel loved. That alone, if we eliminate hangry and hanger in the world, I think that could catalyze our species right there. Just like the vibrational frequency of everybody feeling like, wow, I'm loved enough that I'm not going to starve, or my babies aren't going to starve, could be all we need to do. to really like get our planet together on the same page and knowing, wow, I guess we can work together and we can be successful. We can get something really important done. So I think that works. And what you're saying, what I do know about people in jail, that if we were to take anybody who's in jail and put them in a kibbutz, a community of people that are actually working together and love each other and have song and dance, and those people don't wind up going back to jail. People who go to jail, as the expression goes, hurt people hurt people. You know, those people that go to jail or are criminals or stealing food for their babies are doing that because nobody loved them or showed them the way. So, you know, they're just survival mode. Survival mode is take what you can or survive. It's survival mode. And too many people are there.
And more every day.
Yeah, more every day. I mean, our country was supposed to be about, you know, land of the free and inalienable rights that you had mentioned. We all have the right to the pursuit of happiness, health. You know, and I can't pursue health if you're dropping bombs of poison all over the place. How can I pursue health? How can I be happy if I see that there are hungry people because our system of oppression is taking from the people and not giving us back anything? Crumbs. You know, we made all those millionaires in politics. We voted them in there and then they wound up becoming millionaires. So it's like,
You know, there's all these people, I'm sure there's people approaching being trillionaires now. There's 100 billionaires out there on the planet. What do you think about, I'm just asking, I'm not presenting any view on it. What do you think about, first off, the wealth that these people have is the earth's wealth. You know, they got it off the sweat and blood of hardworking Americans. They weren't out there with the pitchfork, you know, digging for gold. You know, they were just taking the checks, you know. So what if we did a grab, a money grab? The government says, hey, you know, it's not working for one person to have all the wealth. You know, it's our wealth and we're going to take it and provide for their needs. Give them a mansion. They can't have 12 mansions. Give them a mansion. You know, you can't have 12 yachts or Rolls Royces, and just start giving that money back to the people. You know, I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, it's better to sacrifice one person for the wellness of the country. You know, why should we allow a handful of people to have our wealth and make us all live like we're in the Middle Ages with aristocrat, you know, who have their own standards.
well, that's why I want us to collectively own our democracy and collectively own our country. You know, return to the commons, a resource-based economy where we all own the land, we all own the water, we own the gardens, we benefit from it because we're co-creators of it. It's kind of like a co-op. So Co-op America, instead of it being a cooperative like health food store that we pay $20 a month to be a member of, and I put 3 hours a week into working and then I get my 20% discount kind of thing. If we can apply that to our budget here in America, you know, it's our budget, and then there's a place online. I see no reason, again, which is why I want the federal budget on a blockchain. You know, you can log into where you pay taxes, and how about where you pay taxes, you get to choose. Do you want your tax money to go into education, into war, into infrastructure, into green technology, into more gardens, and where we can kind of collectively agree where our money goes? I think it would just shift. And if that's our business, so, you know, it's kind of like if I'm running a business right now and I'm running my business in the red, I don't pay taxes. So that's why the structure, I'm looking for a brilliant MBA, someone who knows business and knows finances and knows how to like create a structure that we can all be co-business partners in this structure, where we're all investing all of our money into this structure so that we're not paying any taxes because we're not showing that we're making any money. It's kind of like what Amazon did. Amazon took my freaking idea. If you just keep spending all of the money, so we keep buying more infrastructure, we keep buying more land, we keep buying more water, we're wealthy in assets. And as long as we're wealthy in the assets that create ground zero for everyone, our food, our water, our homes, more and more people will want to invest in this. And where it could go is eventually, you know, where it's guaranteed income. It's the whole picture. It's the transition to get from where we are now to a shared economy, a shared money system. So that's sort of my thing.
Yeah, the modality that I seek is, I'd call it utopian. It's utopian consciousness, because people will call it socialism, which is socialism. They like the word socialism because they link it to communism. And so that makes socialism bad. But utopianism is something else. Utopian is a lifestyle where we all have, everything. Everyone has a better lifestyle. So
Utopianism, I'm gonna write that down too.
are you, so this is like a chat every day at noon that happens?
Yeah, from noon until midnight every day, we come here and hold space for conversations such like these to happen. And we have some days that are structured. Tuesdays and our Friday 24-hour session is more structured with planet food healers comes on. There's a solution conversation about these kinds of solutions. What are we doing to like change the world? Michael Gaio comes and speaks about, you know, a new vision for a new earth. And then if there's like a talk, sometimes we'll have field trips, like the Day at a Time was last week. I took some of us on a field trip to go do the Day at a Time. And then we came back here and had a conversation. And oftentimes with a lot of these Zooms, like Saturday Night Alive, they actually come back here after that's over for the full-on synthesis, integrating conversation, talking with the audience sort of thing. So it's sprouted out of the harmonic convergence also. A lot of the conversations with the harmonic convergence, people came here after, but Radish and the conversation's been around for a bunch of years before all this kind of catalyzed to the next level.
I like the idea of having like some kind of a think tank discussion on Saturday Night Live, rather than they just have a speaker and they talk for 5 minutes. That we throw some ideas back and forth, even like what we're doing is, it's more compelling than like some of the speakers that sharing their solo wisdom.
Yeah,
I think
it's back in the, I don't want to say it in any negative way, but again, it's like the ego of some people is just so palpable. It's like, come on, it's only your vision, because you're if it's a big vision that can hold all of us, then we're all holding that same vision. And then if we can all just like tone down our personal egos just a little bit so we can hold space for whatever's best to come out for all of us with all of our flavors and all of our textures, that is what I think our world is looking for. Because if it's my idea, I don't have all the answers, so we're in trouble. So I don't want to be the one that's leading. I want to be a co-leader, and if I'm seeing nobody's willing to step up in the moment, I'll step up. But if I see someone more, a better vision, please step up. Or even if I think they might not have a better vision, I still want to hold space, because maybe I don't know that they have a better vision. So I just really think it's so important for us to be open and have these conversations. And I'm stoked that you're here, because you've added, definitely contribute value.
I haven't really met, I realize I live in a bubble somewhat, but, I haven't met people that disagree with, what we're talking about, as far as, ways to move forward on the planet, and which is way beyond politics. This is just common sense, governance, which if it's not common sense, then that's a problem for us. It's not common sense that we think that a stronger military is the way for America. They have new attack submarines. They're like $112 billion, one submarine. And I think they ordered 12 of them. They're on order to the next 20 years or whatever. And these one fighter jet's $451 million. That's for one plane. How many people can you feed with that 400? Do we need to have another fighter jet? They got, aircraft carriers on the books. The amount of money that we spend is 7 times greater than the next like 5 countries or something. You know, it's 7 times greater than anybody else, and you could put like 5 of the other nations together, and we're still outspending.
It's astronomical. It's insane. Yeah, and then also, I don't know if you're familiar, but pretty much about 60% of our habitable planet is habited by cows. So that's a big issue, which is why, planetary healing comes with, unfortunately for those who love their meat, a plant-based diet, a plant-centric diet, because we just can't feed the world on a plant-based diet. I mean, I'll show you this picture. It's when you see the picture and like you feel it, it's like, oh, that's pretty bad.
Nice necklace. Yeah,
Huh?
I like your necklace. Those
My
are
elephant,
Joshua beads.
I got elephants, which I love.
Nice.
Yes, and then these are my Amma beads. So Amma wore these. I've been
Right.
an Amma Mama lover for like 20 years, since '93. So yeah, so good.
I think I'm not gonna have to cruise. I do have a 3 o'clock now. He didn't do the 1, but I got a 3 o'clock. I'm gonna have to get some stuff together. But so we'll check in on this again.
Sure. Do you want to I'm gonna actually start ask Jamin if he wants me to start having schedule conversations, like you can come on and speak for half hour and then have a conversation after with those who show up, or start putting more of a calendar together for those who want to speak. So if you want to be in touch directly, I'd say text me your direct number. I texted you mine.
You want a friend on Facebook? Do all that?
I don't like to use Facebook as an intermediary. I like to call people directly. I'm old school in that way. So if you text me on Facebook or try to get in touch with me on Facebook, I might not get to you for like months, because that's just Facebook for me.
Well, what do I have? Oh, I've got your phone number here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, I guess I would like to talk with Daniel Sheehan at some point. I don't know if he's into class action lawsuits or if that's even a smart thing to do, but I would like to see fair elections. It's absurd that there isn't a movement with all these demonstrations going on all the time, but what nobody's demonstrating about 2 flawed human beings being our only candidates for president.
Right. Yeah.
I say flawed because, if they're not a visionary, then they're we should be paying down our credit cards. We're trillions of dollars. We got to pay it off. Just like every month they make us pay our cards. We have to pay off the deficit.
I mean, not one of them in a pandemic are calling for Medicare for all. I mean, that alone, like we see 30 million people are losing their health care and can wind up dead or with millions of dollars in debt because you're in the hospital for 2 weeks straight and they charge you like $10,000 a day to be in the freaking hospital. I mean, so people aren't going to go, so they're just going to die or just spread the disease. And it's just like, come on, really? We can't figure out how to just have a system that works for all? But that's because they're poisoning us and they're allowing Monsanto to poison the heck out of us and drop crap out of the sky and poison our water systems. They know how much they're poisoning us, so they don't want to pick up the healthcare bill. Obviously, that's why. So it's like it goes hand in hand. We have to have clean food, clean air, clean water in order to have affordable healthcare in this bigger sense. We can't just be eating freaking, pizza and yodels every day and think that we can afford healthcare for all. We have to be smarter about our food choices. So food healers is a big deal. And a burger, if they weren't getting subsidies, so like, they say socialism is terrible for people, but it's fine for corporations in the form of subsidies, because a hamburger would cost like $45 in terms of the amount of resource intensity it takes to grow a hamburger, and a steak would be like $90. So let's start putting real price tags on these things and see how much people eat them. And if they want to go have your $100 steak once a month, okay, that'll be sustainable, but you're going to pay a freaking $100 for your steak. So that's part of my thought.
Let's reconvene soon.
Yay.
Would be
Great to
good.
have you here, Jay.
Thank
More to
you.
come. I'll get in touch with Daniel for you, and so get in touch with me. I'll get
Yeah,
this.
there's all kinds of things. If you notice that web address I gave you, the Mayor for President 1996 address, that shows you. It's got all my cartoons and stuff. You know, if anybody wanted to go about a lawsuit or something, I'm not sure exactly what's involved because I'm not really going after the mainstream approach, you know, through the media because I've learned they're not really, you know, it's not really holistically centered.
Yeah. So your lawsuit, you're wanting it to be about what? Our democracy being so we only have two people running for office that are terrible candidates? Like just to like a lawsuit against the illusion of choice, or what's the?
But there's no free. These elections are. That's not a free election. You know, like what happened to the other political parties? They make it so the other political parties can't have, you know, the 60,000 votes in each state and $100,000, so they don't raise that money, so they're disqualified, and never another word spoken about it, unless they find something to say that they can humiliate someone, like Jill Stein. I think she was, you know, she didn't know the name of somebody like it was, you know, the Prime Minister of Afghanistan or something. She didn't know their name. Like, who cares? You know what their name is, but they were just like belittle. They were, you know, being really nasty, you know, about it.
Well, the mainstream media is owned. You know, they're all in cahoots with each other.
Right. They're making a fortune off these ads,
Fortune.
you know, for months and months and months. And my big thing is that our candidates, instead of going to Congress, they were campaigning all around the country. You know, Kamala Harris went to 4 different events. Congress is in session. She's in New Mexico and in Nevada and down in Southern California and in LA, like in the same day, you know, instead of being in Congress. And people do this. They take the 3rd year off so they can campaign. You know, it's like, no, we didn't pay for them to go campaigning for a year and raising money. Why are they raising money? It's an insult. You know that the people are calling me and asking me for money for their campaign so that they can, you know, match Trump's amount of money. You know, that should end.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Campaign finance reform, publicly free, open elections is the only way we're going to have democracy. That's democracy.
no money.
We don't have democracy right now. Corporatocracy, oligarchy, you know, plutocracy, but not democracy. We don't even have a republic anymore. So, yep, the illusion, the grand illusion. It's time to realize our own dreams.
I also offer a joint session of Congress where everyone in Congress has to get high, like once a month. You know, if they're passing laws against pot, you know, they should at least have smoked it. And they all admit they've never smoked it, so then they shouldn't be able to pass a law against it.
That's a good
You know,
point.
and they don't even revisit these things. Sometimes decades go by and they don't revisit the classification of marijuana as a you know, level 1, you know, drug.
Mhm.
We need a lot of help, but the help that we need is each other. You know, we need like a worldwide movement that you know, gets everyone engaged. You know, beyond the political system. This is, you know, all the light workers, all the devotees, all the, you know, patriots. You know, we all vote for ourselves. You know, fine. I don't care. It doesn't have to be me. If I'm the only one that's going to go lie detector tests for Congress, you know, everybody, you know, pass a lie detector test or leave. You know? And we ask simple questions. Are you taking money from undisclosed money from foreign nationals? Are you guilty of treason against the United States? Do you have offshore accounts? Have you taken money from special interests, undisclosed? Those are just simple questions. Yes or no? Do you love America?
Are you in it for the money? Are you in it for the people?
Like if Biden can pass a lie detector test, I say fine. Go ahead. You can be president. But if he can't, and I don't think he could, then he shouldn't be running.
Well, he's already said things aren't going to change much. That's literally the words that have already come out of his mouth.
Well, see, my plan is to go after the Christian voters. See, the Christians are with Trump for some reason because of abortion or whatever. But the truth is I've heard it said that America is a Christian nation. And as a Christian nation, then that means that we exemplify the philosophies of Jesus, which is that we don't kill our brothers, that we love our neighbor, we extend the olive branch of peace. So there's no reason for us to be building the military at the expense of the wellness of the people, because we shouldn't be a warfaring nation. We're not a Christian nation. We're not Christian militia. Doesn't feel right. So we can change the world. All the Christians, if you want a better world, let's de-escalate the military, spend all that money on ourselves, get our credit cards down. The whole world will join us. Oh, America's not spending money. We'll stop too.
That's why I think the idea, gamify our federal budget, and literally we can get like a Sim City, but it'll be our federal budget, and we get to decide where we want our tax dollars to go. And I think what the problem is that we don't realize that we all want the same thing, so we're not being totally confident and moving forward with that confidence. So if we have a platform that shows, oh my God, yeah, we really all do believe in this, we'd be that much more, excited and affirming it and feeling it in our bodies. So reclaiming the narrative is key, because the narrative is us against them and they're bad and these people are evil and da 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 da. So holy cow, we do that and people will be so excited. And that's what we're doing.
The narrative is that we have certain inalienable rights: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if you look at the definition of liberty, able to do something at will, unfettered, unrestrained, not subject to external authority. It goes on. There's like 20, there's not a lot of definitions in older dictionaries for freedom, like 20 of them. And on the other side, there's despotism. What we need to do is we need to notice that if despotism is actually reigning anywhere, then we have to notice that, and we have to be, despotism is a kind of pestilence. That, you can't, it's a smoldering fire. It's more than that. It's a blaze in our society. And we should eradicate it, with love. Don't you agree? Despotism, it's like, it's a scary word even to say, because, despotism it means that things are not right. And people like to think America's, no, they attacked freedom. Oh, not really. We're not really free.
Yeah.
I'm putting my visors down.
Those are fun. I like when you wear them. I'm gonna have to get my circly red John Lennon ones.
Yeah, the hearts.
Hearts, exactly.
I got some red ones too.
Cool. So, yeah, what it was, is that Bob Marley, or is that, I think, yeah, when the love of power overcomes the power of love. Oh no, when the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace.
Let's write that down. When the power of love overcomes the love of power, then we will have world peace.
The world will know peace.
Then
I'm pretty sure. Bob Marley said that. I'm sorry, that's who said that. When,
is that accurate quote?
an accurate quote, yeah. When the
'Cause I have a book that I'm actually getting ready to send to publishers.
oh cool.
I'm having it published, so I might use that line in there.
Jimi Hendrix. Okay, Jimi Hendrix said that. When the
Jimi-
power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. That's the exact quote.
Jimi Hendrix, really
Jimi Hendrix,
nice one.
right?
Oh, that's going in my book.
Cool. What's the name of your book?
Mayor for President 2020.
Okay.
I can show you some pictures. See, I've got cartoons for all this stuff. At first it was the 10 tough concessions, like number 1 was lie detector tests for Congress, de-escalate the military, legalize marijuana, representatives must attend Congress. It goes on all the way to joint sessions of Congress. It's a tough concession as they have to smoke pot once a month. But
I even say let's have them eat some mushrooms or ayahuasca sessions with some shamans at least once a year, or ecstasy.
I can't share screen. Can you enable screen sharing?
Yeah, let me turn you into a co-host. Okay, should be able to share now.
I can share now. Well, let me queue up something here, but it is not exactly clear. Well, here's one. Okay, let's see if I can share screen. Can you see that?
Yeah, right there in the middle. The lie detector test there. Nice question. So shell companies, offshore accounts, undisclosed money from foreign governments. Are you guilty of treason against the United States? Are you an undisclosed agent for a foreign government? Perks, kickbacks, or bribes from lobbyists and special interests? Good questions.
You can see all these guys going home, buying lie detector machines, asking themselves questions. I think we should take drugs. We have drugs so that their mind can't sit there and interfere. They can't learn how to trick the machines. They relax so that they can't even think. That their mind is like they're just like open space. Then you ask them questions. I've never heard that lie detector tests tell people when they're telling the truth. I don't think it tells that they're lying. It says like if they lie, they can sometimes fake it. So it says that they're telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
The question is, what if I believe something to be true, but it's not true? Because unfortunately, it's like some of these white supremacists, they absolutely completely think like Black people or brown people aren't as smart, and that they contaminate the pure white gene by having sex and creating more babies, and they're lowering the standard of humans by doing that. They really believe that they're doing the right thing. So like if we were to ask those people this question, do you believe what you're doing is fair in the justice system? They might actually believe it is fair by putting more Black people, let's say, in jail. So it's like we have to just make sure with the questions that we ask can really get behind their own biases and their own lack of understanding the truth, the end all truth, that we're all in this together, we're all equal, we're only as strong as the weakest link. you know,
How's this look?
yeah, I see this. All representatives must attend Congress. All representatives must attend Congress. Yep. That's cool.
As one of my top 10 concessions.
Nice.
You know, we don't even know what they're doing. Like, if kids have to go to school every day, you know, maybe our representatives should be, you know, required to go to Congress to their job. Are they out on the golf course, you know, when Congress is in session?
So what about this? Like, you know, this idea, what we're doing here at the conversation is we're recording. I would like to see everything being recorded. And I think if everybody in our government knows that everything they're saying and doing is recorded, and, you know, eventually all things get known, you know, you can't hide the truth forever, especially with the internet and information age. I think that would be really beneficial. Every phone call, wiretapped, et cetera, et cetera.
Why don't you look up the date of, you know, the total cost and destruction of Puerto Rico on the computer? It's like it's $100 billion in damages. You know, most of the stuff before that was like millions. You know, the East Coast blizzard cost $25 million kind of thing. And people are like, 25 million. This is billion.
Yeah.
And 100, the size of this test when it was 2/3 of the US in the deep freeze, that was a 100 megaton test. And this is a 100 megaton test. They said it was at least 100 megatons. So they're saying it's so powerful that, you know, unparalleled destruction.
It's just insane. Yeah, you know, I believe moving forward, I think the precautionary principle needs to be implemented in terms of progress and how we see progress. And moving forward, it's not like, let's test it on the human plant, let's test it on Earth and we'll test it on the human species before and collect data that way. The precautionary principle demands that we prove it's safe before we roll it out into like the real natural world or into humanity. And that would just change things because it would slow us down a lot, which is what we need to be slowed down a lot. We're a freaking train wreck. We're a total train wreck, our species.
What do you think of this? Can you see it?
The mayor for president, the lie detector test is still on the screen.
Really?
Yeah, I did see your second picture. I haven't seen a third one.
Mandatory joint session of Congress. You don't see that?
Nope.
Yeah, that, okay, well, let's, okay. Yeah, I was changing things and I guess you didn't see them. So let's see, well, this is,
There you go. Now I see you.
yeah, I was trying to share things and I guess they weren't going through. So let's see here.
We saw two pictures.
This is
Okay. The Bell Foundation.
this is the Belle Fourche. It's a river or something. This is a quote from Chase Iron Eyes at the top. You read it?
I see when we poison a river, those who poison a river should not only be criminalized, but they should be punished. Their corporation should cease to exist as a person, and their charter should be pulled. We don't have a jurisprudence that proves for that. Yeah, you know, the interesting thing is, if corporations are now people, and me as a people can get fined for doing environmental destruction, you can't have it both ways. So I totally think that this is an angle that we need to just freaking, you know, karate chop these corporations. Can't have it both ways. So that is where I see the class action lawsuit that the American people can have against these corporations who are now people, and we can collectively sue these people and bankrupt these corporations for reparations on what they just did to our planet and also to us individually. That's an angle that.
Yeah, these are the 1%ers. The people that are making all this money, they're the ones that are polluting our streams and stuff. You know, they should pay for that. They
Yep.
should, you know, we should have pristine waterways. And instead of hunting down Americans with the DEA and ICE and all that stuff, we should hunt down environmental polluters and move them out of the equation.
Yep. Right now, the biggest threat to America are animal rights activists, because we're shutting down factory farms. And again, the amount of money, you know, when you own the land, that's kind of all of it. I mean, you own the land, and you can do whatever you want on that piece of property, blah, blah, blah. So I think the whole idea of owning cows and using them for food and whatever is a way to kind of have the whole takeover of our planet.
Are you vegetarian?
I've been vegetarian for 28 years and vegan for 25.
Yeah, I've been more vegetarian lately.
Anyways, so look at this picture. It's just so telling. The blue is the cows, the green is the wild life that's still available on our entire planet, and the red is people. So it's crazy the amount of wildlife that is still available, well, left on our planet.
Wow.
Yep.
I'll share one more screen with you. There's,
There you go. That's great. Yeah.
I mean, what if we took my cartoons and I mean, literally the least anyone could do that wanted to get involved would be to, and the most, just to, you know, distribute, we'll say 10 copies of my pictures to all their friends. Lie detector test for Congress, de-escalate the military by 2/3. You know, that gets the message out there. Just help the message to go viral. It's not, doesn't have to be about me. You know, I don't want to be, you know, be put under the microscope. But, you know, you know, if that's going to help, then sure. But if it's not, then, you know, why bother?
You know, and that's why another reason why I think being collective, being like a body, a tribe that runs for president together, you know, because it's like, be the change you want to see in the world. If we're not looking to have any one of us be the leader, or for any one of us to, you know, be listening to some other leader, then we ourselves can't run. You know, we got to be that change. So I think running collectively is a way that we can make it happen, if that's the future.
Yes, let's reconvene on that note sometime soon.
Let's do it. We'll have like you said, a council.
Yeah.
Our council together and see what we can co-create.
So should I don't have an email for you, right? Should I just text you?
Yeah, text me is best, and I'll text you,
Okay.
Daniel, a call.
And this is recording, so if you can, I actually would be interested in looking at it sometime, or a little,
Yeah, what?
or a little media.
Our video here?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all, so the goal with these recordings, they're all being recorded. They're all going to go into like a database where we can actually access, like search for different keywords, and then boom, that conversation will pop up and we'll be able to revisit that conversation exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're like techie.
Yeah, some techies hanging around these spots, these rooms.
So is this do you have your own personal Zoom room, or is this Jamin's?
Yeah, this is Jamin. This goes back to the conversation in radish.org, the conversation.cc and radish.org.
Okay. Conversation.cc. Great. I gotta go.
All right. Thank you. See you later.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay,
Hey.
I'm gonna kick him out. I guess I can just mute him. All right, Christopher. I see you, and I can hear you. If you were talking. So I'm going to, since there's nobody here at the moment, talking and walking, can I put a little something or other in there? Live on Facebook. Hey, Chris. Good. That was a great conversation. Awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, this is fun stuff. I'm going to, might want to, I'm happy to talk. I don't know, are you only able to text? Are you working and hanging with people at your house that you can't be on video and chit chatting live? If so, I'm going to go get some, excuse me, some food. Brain working like that gets me hungry. Okay, we both go eat. Cool. So I'm going to stop the recording if I can. I think I can. Stop video. No, I guess I can't stop recording. I'll send Jamin a little message.
Watch out. Here comes our field trip. We got a
Hey! Hey, Amy.
I got Amy and Debbie Ozarko, who's a rock star. Both of them are rock stars. And who do we have in the room? Christopher's here. Sweet man's always here. Jamin's listed, but I don't know that he's here. Summer Rose is our Santa Cruz run for president with the tribal council with Jay Meyer. And Deb Ozarko is, I don't even know how to explain you. You're amazing. And Amy's our Portland vegan warrior.
On the front lines of Portland.
Yeah. So what's been happening on the call here, Summer?
Yeah, well, we just completed our amazing conversation about exactly that we need to be the change we want to see in the world, right? And if we don't want to have any one person leading us, because no one person can really hold space for all of us, we're going to need our next president to be a council and a tribal collective of those of us who just, have our specialty smarts, perfections, our specialties, and come together as a council. So that's it's been amazing. And of course, ground zero is feed everyone. Next level is house everyone. Next level is education, healthcare for everyone. Next level is education for everyone. So we have this amazing idea that we're all coming together, agreeing with the same thing, what our planet needs to be fully alive and fully awake. Very fun, lots of fun.
Yeah. And part of the beauty here is that, so that this conversation was happening and Summer was talking about this idea for a different kind of presidency. And I'm like, oh my God, you have to talk to Jay, right? Because Jay's a buddy from another network, but he's talking all about how we change government. And Jay's run for president a couple of different times himself, as has Summer Rose. And so I'm like, Jay, just come over here. You got to meet Summer, right? So then Jay comes over, and they're just a beautiful match of passion to change government. And Summer was deeply involved with the Bernie is still deeply involved with the Bernie movement. And so it's a way to connect people. And then just like here, Debbie and Amy and I were talking, and it's just like, let's just go there and get you to try it out, Debbie. Amy tried it once or twice. I don't know if you've been back, but so then new people get to try and see what it feels like. And yeah.
And Peter, dot connector extraordinaire.
I do like that connection thing. Playing human Legos. I just made that up. That's great though. Human Lego pieces, putting them all together.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear, Debbie, your first time here. Welcome. This is being recorded, so I want you to know that. And the whole goal of these conversations being recorded is that someday we can just type in a keyword and then boom, I'm looking for Debbie Ozarko talking about veganism. and boom, it pops up in 3 different conversations. Okay, you just click on that conversation and boom, here comes this conversation of Debbie and Amy and Peter and Summer and Christopher talking together about this vegan moment, and a way to just catalog all these things that we're doing to figure out the best solutions to transform our world and have us all win is like the bottom line, what we're doing here. It's very, and so yeah, so Debbie, let's hear from you, and Amy, let's hear from you. And
Yeah, Amy, tell us what your Amy has a little call that's vegan doomers. So tell us about the vegan doomers call a little bit, or what you're hoping to do with that.
Well, actually, we're just starting it. In fact, today was the first day. We just launched it. So
Oh.
I have a vegan Facebook group called Vegan Doomers, and it's really more about like, well, it's going to be for vegan people that are really aware that we are collapsing, like that we are in full collapse, and that this shit can't be saved. That this is not going to. There's no government, no inventions. There's nothing that's going to save this, and whether it takes 5 years or 50 years or 200 years, that it's over for the human species here on the planet. So it's only for people that are really willing to go that deep. You know, it's not for like technological solutions and, you know, let's get Bernie as president. It's like, we're fucked. So, you know, so we're going to keep it separate because there's a lot of people that don't want to be exposed to that. And so you got to be vegan, and you got to be like 100% convinced this shit is going down. And,
Awesome.
That's it.
going down, but what's going down and goodbye? So let's like throw the going away party, or going down so we got to get our shit.
Supporting people in our grief that like we are facing human extinction and we're taking all the animals with us, and that, you know, it might take 1 million years for Mother Earth to recover. And yeah,
So,
we're like, you know, more along the Guy McPherson. I mean, I don't support Guy McPherson. He doesn't like vegans. He's been a personal asshole to me after Peter and I hosting him he stayed with me for like 9 days or whatever, and drove his ass all around California. But like, I knew that before I met Guy McPherson. Like, okay, so I was in college in the early 1980s, and I was an environmental science major. And in like 1982 and 1983, all of our college professors said the Earth will not support human life between 2060 and 2080. So long before Guy McPherson, I mean, when I was 21 years old, 22 years old, I already had this awareness, and I'm seeing it before my own eyes right now.
Christopher just chimed in, and he said that was his focus as well. So that's nice.
Okay, Debbie, you want to say anything about that? Just unmute. You have to unmute, Deb.
I can unmute you too, I think.
There we go. Okay, how's that?
Perfect.
Oh, I don't know. Where do you want me to start?
How did your parents meet?
I don't know. I can't even ask them. They're both gone. Let's see. I think I was skirting the edges of this conversation, the one that, you know, Amy's talking about. In like 2014, 2015, even 2013, as far back as 2013, I was skirting the edges of this conversation. And then I got this fateful email from a woman named Amy Vegan, right down in that little corner in my little box here. And she called me on my hopium. I'd never heard the term hopium before. And it was the most annoying email that I think I'd ever received from somebody who was one of my supporters. Because I had a podcast and I had a blog, and, you know, I'd written a book there, and I was desperate to believe that we as a species weren't as stupid as in my heart I already knew we were, like going down this path. And it took me, I don't know. The way Amy wrote it, like Amy, you're a straight shooter, and I really appreciate that about you. There was just no BS about that email. And I'm a straight shooter too, so it was like, and I was really irritated by the email, and I know that when I'm irritated by something, that it's touched something inside of me that I don't necessarily want to see, and so I use that red flag as an opportunity for personal growth and personal truth. So I kind of pondered that email for a few days and finally I reached a point of acceptance where I knew she was right. And prior to that, I'd actually been having a lot of premonitions. I've always been very intuitive, and I'd been having a lot of premonitions about the collapse of the ocean, to the point that they were haunting me. I was quite wrecked in 2015 about these premonitions. And then Amy's email came just at the same time as that was all playing out, and I knew that she was right, and I knew that I needed to be honest with myself about this. And it turned into, I started to write a blog post that was very, very different than anything I'd put out there before, because I was always saying, like, yeah, we're pretty fucked, but there was always the but disclaimer. And Amy took away the but disclaimer for me. So I started to write this what I thought was a blog post, and then it turned into an internal truth that I was finally purging. And I released, I wrote and wrote and wrote. It turned into an essay. And then I questioned whether I should send it out to my audience or not. And the internal impulse to send it was really, really strong. And even though my mind was terrified, because I had this feeling I was going to be losing all of my followers, and it was just this stupid thing. Anyways, so I hit send, and it went viral. So yeah, the thing went viral because I was just speaking a raw truth that I know a lot of other people could resonate with and they needed to hear it as well. And so it just kind of set the course for my body of work from there. So that was, I think, I don't know if it's 2015 or 2016. And from there, once I accepted this internal truth, I went through an immense period of grief, like we all do. And eventually it brought me to a place of full acceptance. And then I wrote a second book, Beyond Hope. And that was basically I didn't know how I was going to write this book, but it ended up being in 2 sections. So I wrote the first section was kind of like this god-awful litany of collapse. And it was a really painful section to write. And then I thought, then the next section just kind of started to write itself through me. And it was basically about how I have learned to make peace. Not that I've got it, I don't have the answers, but it's basically how I've learned to make peace with it, and how I've learned to live more presently and with more love and compassion than ever before. And so that book I released in 2018, and it's done quite well. It seems to be doing rather well right now in this reality. And yeah, and now I just I don't really feel like I have a lot to say anymore. I mean, I feel like what I needed to say has been said, and now it's important for me to just become a living expression of the words that I wrote. And so that's really my focus, is just living. And it's not really a focus, it's just an intention that just kind of naturally happens. So I'm just living very simply on my 22-acre rental property, and I have a big garden, and I have a bunch of rescued animals, and my partner of 20 years just left me. That always has to come up. Just left me just before this fucking COVID thing. And so that's been like a huge growth opportunity for me to really learn about internal resilience. And so I've kind of like backed off from writing on my blog, and just I've just been focused on my own healing and my own growth through this, and just kind of figuring out, navigating this reality and recreating myself through this reality. And I think I'm just starting to come out the other side now, where it's 5 months later. So now I'm feeling like I'm starting to have things to share, and I want to engage more. Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at, just living. And the COVID thing has, I have a different viewpoint on it. Like I believe that I don't believe what we're being told, and I recently heard this really awesome interview by this guy named Dr. Zach Bush, I think his name is. And it was amazing. And what he said actually makes a lot of sense about all of this. And he comes from a more holistic perspective. But I just feel like it's a pandemic of fear more than it is anything else. Yeah. And so it just makes me feel sad, because a lot of what I write about, especially in the first part of Beyond Hope, and even in my first book, Unplug, as I write about this paradigm of separation that we as a human species have embraced as our way. And as a result of being so separate from the natural world and each other and ourselves, we have just become this species of brutality. And so I look at this pandemic of fear that's playing out globally now, and I feel like what it's doing ultimately is separating us even more, which I find really tragic. And people now have this belief that love is social distancing. And like, how twisted is that? So anyway, I just, it's a very interesting time for us all to be alive. And I feel like more than anything, it's imploring us and inviting us to go inward more and really connect with the deepest part of ourselves, so that we can come out the other side more whole, whatever that means, individually. And, you know, if we all do this individually, then there's the potential for us to exit our time as a species on this planet with a little more grace. And ultimately that would be a beautiful thing for me to see. But I also, like Amy, I don't believe that we have a lot of time left as a species. And I feel like every species goes extinct, and this is our time. And it's kind of an interesting time for us to choose to be alive here. And Peter and I have had some great conversation. We had a great conversation the other day about the things that this time period is bringing up inside of us to face, to become more whole. So anyway, that's where I'm at. It's never a short answer with me.
Wow. Thank you for your truth and sharing. And wow, that's intense and beautiful. And I'm a little sad with the idea that you think that our time here is done, but I don't. But I'd like to hear why you think that, and I'd like to, please challenge me. I'm all about being challenged, and I want to break down and break through. And I know that I've come to the place of being in acceptance that we're all not going to make it through, because that's been my 25-year-long activism. Let's create systems that make sure that we all live and we all survive. And as I'm sitting here 25 years later, there's all these people that are now dead. So, we're not there yet. And that's reality. And will we ever get there? I don't know. Will we all go extinct? Maybe. I do know Amma, and not that Amma is any, she might be. Some people think she's like goddess incarnate. And for many years, I know she said that we weren't going to make it as a species. And that was something that I could resonate with Amma with, because I just didn't want to go there. And she's since changed that tune. She now says that we are going to make it to the other side. So if as I welcome my own challenges, if I may challenge your belief as well, that hopefully will get us where we need to get collectively. Because
I'm not, the one thing, as after decades of activism, like I consider myself to be a retired activist as far as, carrying placards around and trying to convince people to be something that they're not, trying to change belief systems. And I feel like really, ultimately, it's about me. It's what you said earlier about being the change that we wish to see in the world. And ultimately what I've discovered since letting go of activism is that my impact has actually been greater in me just being an unapologetic expression of who I am. So that's being the change that I wish to see. And whether I don't feel any necessity to challenge you. Like I totally respect your beliefs about that. I know my truth, and my truth is that we don't have much time left, and I don't know what that means. But what it's done for me is it's inspired me to live more presently and to live more lovingly and more compassionately. And even if I'm wrong, you know, this is a win for me to be able to live this way. So I just can't, you know, for me, it's not about the science, although I do pay some attention to it, and the media, you know, I don't really pay that much attention to that stuff, but for me, it's very internal, it's very intuitive. And so it was like those premonitions that I was having back in 2015 about ocean collapse. And there were two words that kept coming over and over with those words, and they were, it's over. So I didn't know what that means, but I just was going by, it's all felt. So everything inside of me is felt, and it's very intuitive. But I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm not saying that I'm a guru or I'm some kind of a, you know, whatever, prophet. I'm not. I'm just somebody who has experienced very strong internal impulses and intuitions that have shown me this way. And it wasn't, and I knew this. I actually knew this as a kid. I knew this truth as a kid, and then I denied it through my activism because I didn't want this to be real. And then it wasn't until Amy's email that I finally just looked at that place inside of me that she touched that was so irritated. And then I just kind of reached a place of acceptance. It took a while. There's a lot of grief, like I said, but anyway, so that's my reality. And honestly, I just find that life is more sacred now. I think that anytime we look at death, demise, whatever you want to call it, transition, if we look at that authentically and with clarity, it is a beautiful invitation for us to live more and to not squander our lives. And so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And like I said, I have no desire to challenge you, and I totally respect where you're at, and I respect the activism and the people who are out there continuing to do that. I have a very different way of moving through the world right now that still has impact. So obviously the activist core at my essence is still there because I still care. It's just different now.
I actually think you're doing the right thing. Personally, if you're not living in this like crazy chaotic space and connected to that and then adding to it and exacerbating it, I mean, my book is called From Activist to Activator, From No to Yes. Really, if every activist I felt on the planet focused on love and just planting gardens, we'd have like world peace in that moment.
Exactly. It's so that's being the change right there. There wouldn't be any need for all of this polarity and division and violence. There would be no need for activism. Really, just it's so simple and it's so complex at the same time. You know, like it's so simple. Just be yourself. Like really, like tap into the core essence of who you are, and you know, like examine, like if a wound comes up, like Amy brought up a wound in me, you know, that denial wound, she brought up a wound inside of me, and I chose to face it, and it changed my life in the best possible way. And so I'm eternally grateful to Amy for that. But a lot of people instead would, you know, they would shut that down, deny it, you know, start blaming Amy for ruining their lives and blah, blah, blah. But that's just, you know, that's infantile. That doesn't get us anywhere. So it's really just a matter of being like, being really self-aware, and in that self-awareness and that willingness to just be authentic in that self-awareness, in the good, the bad, the ugly, and all of it, you know, I really do believe that everything could change in a heartbeat. But what are the odds? You know, like there's very few people who are most people are running scared right now. There's so much uncertainty in this reality right now. They're terrified. So you can't get through to them. And they believe the story that they've been told. You know, you got to wear masks, you got to social distance, you got to follow the lines in the grocery store. And, you know, it's really, like I said, that I find really sad. I find it really, there's a tragic humor Like I went to the grocery store today. I used to spontaneously, it's like, oh, I get this craving for some vegan ice cream and I just want to go to the grocery store. Now like, ugh, no thanks, I'll just pass. I'll just make my own with bananas. And because it's just a gross experience now. You know, you gotta, I don't know. There's just so many rules and regulations that just going to the grocery store is just a shitty experience now. Oh, I have this. So right now, oh, I wish I could show you. I don't think I can, but I have this little yellow finch that's drinking from my bird bath and just chirping away. So sweet. Just about to go in for a little dip, I think. So hot here. Those are the moments that mean a lot to me now.
I'm telling you, I think you're doing the real work. The stopping is what we need to do, I think, as a species. And I am in agreement with you that you go to the store and it's weird now and the mask is weird and all this is weird. But if it's getting us to be refocused on ourselves and like really coming within, I feel like it's part of the process. And transformation is not going to be pretty. It's not going to be easy. It's going to suck part of it. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be painful. So I don't know. Like I said, and if I may have permission to say things that I'm saying, I don't want you to feel challenged. I totally respect where you're at, and I want to hold space for where you're at too. But if you're willing to have the conversations, that's, you know, I want to know. So I don't want to step on your toes and make you feel.
Oh, you know what? I'm all about just like blurt it out. Speak what's true. You know, like speak what's true. And I think that when we start worrying about what people think of us, that's when we edit ourselves, when we self-edit, then there's a authenticity that's missing. So yeah, you can say whatever you want. I don't care. Like all I care about is just authenticity.
Thank you.
Like Amy doesn't filter or edit.
Amy. You want to make some comments, Amy? I'm loving everything you're saying, Debbie. I'm telling you, I'm just like in awe. I'm really.
Oh, sure. I mean, I just want to say I filter and edit all the time, but
not with me.
No, but like with bosses or, you know, like neighbors and things like that. But I do filter and edit, and it's very difficult. It's one of my greatest challenges, actually. And it's been really hard for me moving to Portland and getting a new job. Like I was all entrenched in the Bay Area for like 41 years. And so just having to like reinvent the way that I talk to people that I don't know has been really challenging. Because I do want to, I tend to be really abrupt or really direct, and it doesn't work with people, especially bosses, you know. Really, I don't like the way you do that. We did it better at my old job, you know. It's like you just can't say that. So it's a learning curve for me for sure.
Well, I know for me, if I'm ever hosting here, I want bold. I want all of it, all of you fully expressed. I want us to be able to hold space for you and, you know, respond in a way that makes you feel loved and supported and welcome at all times. Safe space here. And yeah, just I really appreciate you for being who you are. And you know, some of us, I actually said this today. It's really funny. I said, I'm going to be one of those people that pushes, you know, and pushes us to like be uncomfortable about what's going on and have the conversations. And some of you aren't going to like me, but if nobody's pushing, nothing gets birthed on this planet. Like literally, like we physical beings have to get pushed out of the vagina, out of the womb in order for life to start. So if we think life is going to continue to evolve and start when we're out of the womb and we're not still being pushed, then you don't freaking get what evolution's all about. It's
so true. Yeah.
So the uncertainty is life. It's part of life. We have to be uncomfortable with uncertainty. That's part of us. We're all a bunch of freaking control freaks who want to know what everything's going to be okay if we freaking take another step. It might not be okay, but we got to take another step anyway.
True. True. Yeah. And I can honestly say that I do not like uncertainty, and it's also the greatest growth opportunity. So yeah, like what you say, you have to just keep on moving forward. No matter what, you know, and just trust. And I think that fear of uncertainty is just too much of a future focus instead of it just snaps me out of the present. So yeah. Where are you, Peter?
Huh?
Peter, your audio is off again.
I'm just south of Santa Cruz, California, a town called Watsonville. And Summer, are you in Santa Cruz, Summer, or near Santa Cruz also?
I'm actually, staying with my fiance at his 6-acre ranch in Hollister.
Oh,
Yeah, and looking to save some animals and turn this into a rescue farm.
all right. All right. All right. So we're within 20 minutes or so of each other, Summer and I, and south of San Francisco.
Yeah. Love it here. I do actually have a home in Santa Cruz also. Recent homeowner. It's a mobile home, but it's mine. It's mine, and I'm stoked to have a home in Santa Cruz. So I've been a safety spot for my friends who've flown somewhere. I'm like, well, go quarantine at my house for 2 weeks. So anybody who wants to come to Santa Cruz, I have an extra spare bedroom there. I'm keeping it sort of that safety zone for people right now.
Awesome. Yeah, nice to hear the story again, Debbie, of your process and reflecting back. And I just searched my first email to you and sent that to you and to Amy, and just remembering when I saw the pod, I read your post and I'm like, damn, that girl's on it. I got to write her. And
Oh, here it is. Yeah. Wow, May 2016. Okay, that's when it was. Oh, geez, that was a hard month for me.
yeah.
The reason that I'm certain about the time, because that was when Peter and I had that Guy McPherson thing going on, and it was at the same time. In fact, I think I was in Ojai, California, overnighting with Guy. Oh, Peter, were you in Ojai? You were
No,
in
that's where you drove him south. And
Yeah,
I didn't go.
you were staying with that Zen Buddhist therapist lady. Remember her and her husband? Yeah, when I wrote to Debbie.
Oh, yep.
Mm.
Yeah, so we kind of hooked onto you at the same time, roughly, huh? And I'm like, wow, this is cool. And anyway, and then there we went, and then we interviewed. Well, everybody was interviewing Debbie in those days, and as part of the Extinction Radio, and we interviewed you there. Then you interviewed me. Then I interviewed you, and then me and Jennifer Hines interviewed you, and we just kept going back and forth because she was really pushing it with the Beyond Hope. Well, before what was the first book again?
Unplug.
Unplugged, right? Unplugged, and then Beyond Hope, and so just like Beyond Hope is just a gorgeous book, and just daring us to look at what's going on, and what role is hope playing, and what role is hopium, if you will, this ungrounded hope playing, and pretty powerful. And who do we become, right? So the way I like to, even though McPherson and others are dead set that, extinction is where we're headed in the near term, there's a lot of question mark about that. And I don't even know that that's the best topic. It's just the fact that our systems are collapsing. Who do we become? A fact in the knowingness that our systems are collapsing, that's really as far as we need to go in the first step for me. And whether we all go extinct or whether, down the road or quickly isn't the first level question. And it's such a big leap to go from business as usual to extinction that it fetters off way too many people. But I think we can definitely step into, would you agree that some of our systems, okay, every one of them, seems to be, fading or collapsing? Can we just have a conversation about that, right? That, is there any system that's actually working? Could you name one? Zoom calls. Okay, we can name one. Maybe that's working. Yeah. So to just dare to put yourself and stay in that conversation. Wow. Okay. Education's down, banking's down, climate's down, politics is down, global politics is down, health is down, hospitals are crazy. It's like none of it seems to be working. And we just keep multiplying by another million people every week.
Yeah.
Right. And somehow we think it's just going to keep going. And our leaders are just wanting to continue to push that, obviously, for all the reasons that businesses and leaders want to keep pushing that. And so here we are. And can we stop and get out of the bubble for a moment and say, wow, guys, we are here at some very crazy times. And how can we become more present? And within that presence, who are we? And how do we move the magic through us? And how do we hold space for each other? And how can we be, in my world, I want to be more, have a lot more empathy for my species, right? That we're just third graders trying to figure out a 1,500 piece puzzle. And we just don't seem to have the capacity to deal with complex challenges. And maybe a few of us are kind of thinking we're understanding it a little bit, but they're still, well, what do you do? And it's like, fuck if I know, right? It's like, I guess we could start by trying to feed everybody. I guess we could start by eating better with, going vegan, so we're not having to slaughter all our planet mates in order to eat and use all the water and all the land that it takes to do that, right? It's like, maybe we could start there. Maybe we could have some more conversations, because we can't skip to the end of the puzzle. We got to try to find some edge pieces. Yeah. And fascinating. Then you weave in spirituality. What do we think this is on the big picture, right? What does my spirituality have to say about any of this? And that's really where it kicked in for me early when I first got wind of all this, was like, holy shit, we might be here at the end. What does that mean? Am I really a spiritual being having a human experience, or was that just a nice line to put on a little thing on the wall there somewhere, right? But if I am a spiritual being having a human experience, what does my spiritual beingness have to say about the fact that my human beingness may be part of the entire collapse of all of this? And that's where it got really interesting for me, and still is 7 years later. That's enough for me. From me in this moment.
I think no matter what's going to happen, how we are as we get there, what matters. That's why I said, like, Debbie's got the answers, in terms of the answer for herself, to just be peaceful and loving and kind. If we're going down, if this is our last hurrah, so to speak, let's just love each other as best as we can, as fully as we can, as unapologetically, or even with apologies. Like, I don't like to bring this up to people, but we have to love Trump. We got to love those freaking factory farm owners, because something wasn't right in their life for them to have been that person to create pain and sorrow in the world. And they're so disconnected from life and love and the reverence and how that makes you feel to be able to do that. So loving is the best thing we could do. It's who we are at the core. And if we are going to make it through, it's just going to be because there's so much freaking love that's able to overcome the bullshit. That's it.
What does Amy have to say about that? Come on, get us a good F word or something in there.
And you can say, fucking Summer, you're wrong.
Damn hippie girls want to love everything.
Yeah, I follow the science 24/7. So for me, like, it's looking really bad, and I really respect and envy the people that have that hope, you know what I mean? I think it's all going to work out. Like, Peter, I've seen you go from like doomer, it's over, in 3 years, like McPherson said, to like totally shifting to, this isn't going to happen. So I've seen, anytime soon-ish. So I've seen you go through this like transition. You've even said like, oh, well, maybe it's your denial, or maybe it's your hopium or whatever that's kicking in or whatever. But, just follow the ice. It's going to all be about the ice. And so, like I said, anybody who's still hopeful, people that still want to have children and grow gardens, and, go off the grid, yay for them, hope it works out. I'd like to, live another 15 years too, I'm 58, I don't want to live, I don't know, 80, but, good luck to everyone.
What I'd like to ask you, Amy, is when Summer was talking about loving the factory farmers and stuff, I know you're just so passionate about veganism, and I just wonder what comes up for you when someone dares to feel into that space.
Well, I still put up with you, Mr. Meat Eater.
Well, I'm not saying that you can't like an occasional partial carnivore or two, but here's some hippie chick you don't know saying you gotta love the factory farmers.
I mean, I think that when you hate people, it just hurts you, you know? Like, I mean, I don't love them or hate them. It's not an either or. I can be indifferent, or I can wish they were different or whatever, but me hating them isn't going to change them. You know, the only way that you can change people is through love. You know what I mean? If I walk up to some farmer, fuck you, you meat eating piece of shit, you animal killer, blah, 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 like he's going to fuck off. But if I'm like, hey, you want to try my vegan burger? You know, maybe you won't have a heart attack, dude. Like, maybe it'll work. I mean, I just got on, today actually, a friend of mine who I've known since I was, oh my gosh, I met this guy when I was 19, and then we lost touch. We knew each other for like 48 hours. He went back to France. We exchanged a couple letters. We were pen pals. And then like, I found him on Facebook like 10 years ago or whatever. So, and then I went to Paris and I visited him for one afternoon when I was actually in Paris with my dad. But anyway, so this guy that I, basically met when I was 19, and I, saw him again in 2012, I guess. Oh my God, this is such a long time ago. He was just like for years on my Facebook page, oh, vegans are so stupid, vegan, Mr. Useless, blah, blah, blah. And today he messaged me and he goes, I've been vegan for 2 years because of you. And I was like, cool, and I love the guy, it's like, I'm always like, I haven't been an asshole about it. So the hate thing is just hate. Like, there's no reason to hate farmers. I mean, I can pity them. I can think that they're delusional. But hate isn't the right word. It's something better. It's something way more than that. Like, I would say definitely feeling sorry for them,
Can you find, moving the other way just for the sake of playing with it, could you find a place that you could be empathetic for them?
No. I mean, well, maybe in terms of their own like resistance to giving up their livelihood, losing their livelihood, losing their family farm, losing their tradition or whatever the hell. But like, I've known about saving the planet through veganism and stuff like that since the 70s. It's like this, we all knew in 1970, we all knew when Diet for a New America came out. I went vegetarian when I was 14 years old. The vegan thing, sorry, a little bit later, I misspoke. But like, I've been vegetarian since 1976, you know what I mean? And the world's just going to shit, worse and worse and worse. So like, compassion, no, just in terms of them like feeling afraid to transition to something else. Yeah, Summer.
I think part of like our psyches, our brains are so vulnerable to what we say. And I think if we say we all knew, then we're thinking that they know too. And then it makes us feel mad at them when they don't know, because how could they not know? So you might be just telling yourself that they know, but they don't know. And I think that's the place where Peter is coming from. Like, if they don't know, if they're really just ignorant, and if we believe that people are really beautiful and loving in the core, they just got a bunch of fucked up programming happening to them. Then if we can give them a pathway with empathy of just saying, you're just ignorant, you just don't know. And I'm sorry that they don't know, because they feel so much more love in their life if they did know and felt connected to that.
Sure, I can, yeah, I definitely misspoke when I said we all knew, but I mean, what I meant, like me and my group of friends, that we, or, the people in my high school, in my middle school, we knew. So, yeah, farmers in Kansas, of course they didn't know or whatever. I think that, I don't know, how long ago was it that like Oprah Winfrey had that cattle rancher dude?
Oh, that was in the 90s.
Right? Like
Howard Lyman.
Howard Lyman. So they knew then, okay? Like they knew in the 90s. When Oprah and Howard Lyman and all that happened, they knew.
Was that the guy, Dead Doctors Don't Lie or something like that? Or was that guy?
Howard Lyman was a cattle rancher that went vegan, and Oprah made him famous or
Mad
whatever.
Cowboy. He wrote the book Mad Cowboy.
Oh.
He realized the ecological destruction and the cruelty of his industry, and he went on national TV on all the talk shows and tried to went vegan. Like, I'm a cattle rancher and I went vegan, and please go vegan too. And there was a lawsuit, I think the American Cattlemen Association or whatever was trying to shut him down and shut down Oprah. And so for sure the animal torture industry knew in the 90s. So at least in America. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, sure. I mean, it's kind of like saying, do I hold love for Hitler? Do I hold love for Idi Amin? It's like, how far do we take this love and compassion for other people? Yes and no. Like, like in some spiritual way, oh yeah, I'm one with all beings, la la. And then it's like, fuck you, you Nazi racist piece of shit that killed my grandfather's relatives. No, I don't love you. I wish, you should have never been born in the first place. So just keeping it real, Okay, that's it for me right now.
Amy, sending you love. Oh, thank you. I love your truth. I love your willingness to talk and share your truth and be standing in the center of your truth. It's really important for all of us to be able to do that. So really, and doing this since the 70s, my goodness, thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for your clear role in my world too, even if I haven't been able to make the full vegan leap yet. I'm much more aware because of you and because of your support. And I'm every penny is 75% now, so I'm making my way there.
Try the Beyond Meat burgers. They're mind-blowing. Don't try the...
Oh my God, they're so good. I just had one the other day. I've had them at fast food restaurants, but my sister just bought some of the Beyond Meat stuff and made patties the other day. Oh my God, it's a completely different experience. And Peter, I actually satisfied my ice cream craving today, and look at this.
Coconut milk latte de coca.
Yum, yum, yum,
It's
yum.
so decadent. And here's one of the beautiful things about being single now is that I don't need a bowl.
You get the whole thing.
Yep.
I can't believe I ate the whole thing. A couple of us might be old enough for that one.
So speaking of eating, it is now 6 p.m. here in the Ottawa area, and I'm getting really hungry. So this has been a wonderful conversation, and I'm going to say goodbye to everybody right now.
Yep. Beautiful. Thanks for coming on. Beautiful to have you. And we'll be in touch.
Come to the vegan healers.
Oh,
the
right.
Food healers. That happens.
Right. So this is, she knows Silas Rao. So the schedule for do you know when the vegan food healers is on, Summer? Or could you pull that up real quick on the website?
I want to say it's 11. I think the goddess goes from 9 to 11, and then from 11 to 1 is the food healer.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I am right. Christopher says I am correct.
11 to 1 on Thursday.
Friday.
On Friday.
Yeah.
That's when Silesh is around?
Either him or someone in his group, because he's got a bunch of people who are preaching his word now. Silas Rao, I don't know if he's been on, Summer, that you've seen, but yeah, sometimes he's on, and sometimes there's this other girl, Jackie, who's amazing, Jackie Salmon, and another gal. Anyway, there's other people who are carrying his work forward, but do reach out to him because he's been a major player with all that Jamin's doing, and he was a major player in sparking the launch of the conversation because he helps hold so much space for the 24-hour collective block party. Silas and his team hold a bunch of space on that. And the solution area and the solutions that happen every Tuesday from 11 to 7 is an 8-hour thing all about solutions. And so, yes. So yeah, reach out to Silas and tell him hi. And yeah, awesome. Great to see you guys. Whoosh. That was a good field trip right there.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. And, I hope Amy's okay. I learned
She's
this
good.
in my spiritual community that love is all there is. And when we're not feeling love, it's because we stepped out of love. And
Yep.
if it's all feeling, then we're creating it. And that it was hard for me because I was an activist saying stop this and stop that and angry and mad and that's what my book is all about. You can't be an angry activist and be successful because it's got to always come from love.
Yeah. And that's it. That's the shift that's happening. And that's why I was really wanted to push her a little there, because she's fine and she's been in this kind of spot for a long time. So she knows her thing, but that was a really good little push. It's like, well, could you find some compassion? Could you find some empathy? Do you know, when you said, oh, it's all, you know, we got to love the farmers. I'm like, oh, that's got to be great into Amy's little system there. And wondered how that was going to hit her, because she, you know, her general makeup is not that. Her general makeup is, I can't believe you're not vegan, Peter, right? How come you're still not vegan, right? And that it's that sharp previous kind of activism that thinks that kind of, not necessarily shame, but definitely call you on your, where you're not doing it right, you know, is the way to do it. And what I started to say is Silas is so good at just saying, hey, we're all going to the same place. Do the best you can, you know? And to me, that was just like, thank you. I felt so much even self-judgment, let alone judgment from other folks, that yes, I want to go have a steak, and that can be okay, right? It's not an all or nothing experience going on here. Though some people think it is and are attached to it being that way, and they have the right to be that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And I'm thankful for her too, because if she's sitting there like, you know, sounding the alarm, hey, it's freaking game over for the planet. Get your shit together. Get your shit together. I mean, so I get that, except for the fact that she's saying it's going to end, because then what's the point? We might as well party our way to the end times. So
right. And this is the tricky part. And Deb hit on that a little bit, that what it can do, to dare to say, you know, we're probably not going to fix this, just to have a thought experiment or a heart experiment for yourself that says, you know what, it seems like even after all we know, everything that we know, there's probably only 10 or 20% of us that are even close to being on the train. And there's all those other people that are so far from the train station, they're never going to get there, right? That it's like, unless we have a 100th monkey turbo, some kind of miracle, which most people are up for a miracle. I'm up for a miracle happening, right? I'm up for Gaia saying, all right, you guys get one more chance, right? We're going to get this thing lined up, and I'm going to put a jacket on and cool the Arctic or whatever, right? That, but when you have the heart experiment, and I've been doing this for years now, it's like, well, so what if this is it? And what if this is systems collapse, leads to more collapse, leads to nuclear power plants running amok, leads to, you know, life not going so good for pretty much everybody. And maybe there's a small pocket that hangs in there for a little while because for whatever reason, and then that goes away when it does. And 100 years from now, or whatever year you want to put on it for the experiment, there's very little life left on the planet. Well, the planet's been through stuff like this before. This isn't the end of everything. It's just we made humanity into everything.
Great.
Yeah. Do you have something to say, Christopher?
he did say, if that's that Christopher says, really appreciate the challenge of that conversation. That was some serious deep diving in an area I don't normally visit. Find that very helpful, not just their authenticity, but knowledge in this area. I feel like we are shielded from how bad it is. That knowledge may make the message of those who choose to remain in activism even stronger, what is needed. Sorry, I didn't know Mike was on. Okay.
No worries.
Hold on, I see, okay.
Yeah, thank you, Christopher. Yeah, and daring, again, see now here's this chance I had to leave where I was just at, but I don't want to. It's like, so if that's true, if we have led us to systems collapse, and that leads us to massive more collapse, and then who do I become? Right? Who am I now? Since I have, because who I am, I have to hold that we could be 5 years or 50 years away from massive collapse. And that could lead to anywhere. And so since I want to dare to feel that and be present to that, then I have to say, well, then who am I? And it brings this presence. It is totally reframed my whole understanding of presence and what I call spiritual presence. Because spirituality for me was always just kind of a fun thing I could play with for the next 30 years. Right? And it feels good. And I touch base sometimes, and I see you at church sometimes, and then I don't. And then, you know, when I like it, I do it. It's kind of like a little hobby. And I just figured I would just be something that's around, and I'll read a nice book, or I'll write a little something, or I'll preach a little preach to somebody for the fun of it. But then when this all hit, it's like, oh, wow. Spirituality is a present moment thing. Spirituality is not a future moment thing. And so if I'm in this presence of my spirit, if I am a spiritual being exuding in this body, then how do I hold myself amidst the fact that I may have been here? It's not my fault, but I was here when the thing went down. And who do I become amidst that? Do I tell other people? Do I not tell other people? Do I scream it? Or do I try to gently do it? You know, and I've been through all these phases of wanting to tell everyone to wanting to tell no one. And I still hardly tell my family. It's like if people wanted to know, there's ways for them to nibble. And then if they wanted to nibble, they know I've been in climate change and they could ask me. But nobody does that. Nobody does that, right? I mean, 7 years and I may have had 2 or 3 that have kind of asked me, right? What do you think's going on, right? So it pretty much requires me to say, hey, any chance you've looked at what's going on in the Arctic lately? No. Okay. Well, do you want to know? Not really. Right? It's like, okay. Right? It's like, I don't want to force it on anybody. I kind of do, but I kind of don't. And to some degree, like one of them said, ignorance is bliss. And there's that. And so like with my mom, I don't want to tell my mom I think this whole thing's going down in the next 10 or 15 years, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That let her be in her ignorant bliss, right? Why do I need to do that? She's already 85. It's like, whatever, right? But then I have nieces and nephews who are anywhere from just born to 30 years old, right? It's like, what do I tell them or not?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's a really weird spot to be in because it really is. There's a fire going on, like Greta says. The house is on fire. But I don't really want to tell you because it might wake you from your nice little slumber, right? It's like, and because there's not, and this is, thank you. It's good to flush this another level. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That unlike a fire in the house where you could get out to the street and just watch the house burn and be okay and go stay at grandma's house, right? We're not in that situation as far as I see us on this planet. It's like, oh, even if we get out, we're not getting out.
Mm-hmm.
So do I even need to wake you, or do you die in your sleep, right? Or do you, do you just live? Does my 26-year-old niece, do I just let her live until it becomes so obvious that she needs to explore it for herself? And then I just say, yeah, that's what I was kind of hinting at all those years ago, but didn't really want to tell you. I let you live this fake American dream thing for a few more years while you were excited about X, Y, and Z. And better to let you just have that than to try to take that or to be part of taking that away from you.
Mm-hmm.
It was a weird decision for me. And I so want to be liked. That's one of my underlying things too. It's like when this first hit me, when the crisis of this really hit, I'm like, this isn't for me. I'm a Libra middle child peace activist, positive motivation guy, right? I'm not someone who's going to tell somebody, oh, by the way, did you know? The system's collapsing and we're very likely all going to be dead before 2060, right? It's like, I don't want to tell anybody that. And it's like, anyway, that's nice to barf that out a little bit. It's just been a really, really weird 7 years of having moments where, I got people to listen and other moments where it didn't. And who do I tell and who do I not tell? How do I tell it? How can I say it to where people might be able to hear? How do you plant the tiniest little seed in somebody? Like just saying, oh my, did you hear about what happened in the Arctic? Done. All right. Nope, haven't. Okay. Well, I'm going to look at it a little bit more. It seems interesting. Seems like the ice might be melting a lot faster than they thought it was. And to most people, that means, okay, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. And then you might, well, sea level rise. I'm not worried about sea level rise. I wish that was our biggest problem. All right. It's like, so nobody resonates. People still don't resonate, even amidst all the craziness we've had. It's like, do you think the weather's changing? Yeah, it always changes. Right? It's like, okay, have a nice day. Right? I'm going to go get a Beyond Burger at Burger King because they are good. I've had 4 of them in the last 2 weeks, I think. I love those guys. And the ones at Carl's Jr. aren't bad either. The Impossible Burger, right? It's like, anyway, it's a crazy dance.
Yeah. Yeah. And the good news is that there's only, like they say, the 1%, and it's actually only the top 10th of the top 1% who are controlling the world. So if that's true, and I really believe it is true, so many of us are just living by default, kind of with whatever the program is. So that means we need the top 10th of the top 1% of the light workers to get our shit together so that we can unite our lights and magnify our light. And then everyone will be like, oh, wait a second, that's the new game in town. So I really, because if it's all energy, if it's all connected, and so many of us are just living by default, I really think that this is so much easier than we are making it. You know, we are babies, toddlers. I want kicking and screaming. I want it now. And man, we can have it now. I totally know we can. And it's just getting enough of us to vibe that. I totally know it's true.
Yeah, you make a really good point. If there's that few people that are running the thing, that we could get the light there, and it could shift, like so much has shifted now. I mean, COVID has proven that we can turn on a dime and do things different. And so now we have that. It's not some wild fantasy. Oh, nothing's ever going to change that fast, Summer. It's like, well, look, it just did, you know, over the chance that maybe a couple 100,000 Americans might die, right? So what if there was even more power presented in that? And yeah.
So, you know, like I remember when before, I forgot which amendment it was, but it was the fact that you could go to war as an 18-year-old kid, but you couldn't vote until you were 21. So they created an amendment that enabled you to be able to vote at 18. And I think that happened within like 3 or 4 months. It was like this thing that just became, this obviously needs to happen. So in the same sense, we can do this. We have to feed everybody. And let's see if this could be, because we're all in agreement that food is critical for life, you know, clean water, clean food. But like maybe if we can just have that be like our document, our amendment as a group here, and have, you know, see if we can just create this as a domino effect across the nation. Let's get one thing, food.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all of our cities agree. Any empty lots, you know, in our neighborhoods right now become food gardens instantly, and they're open to the public, and we're all out to just start and come together, and let's just see what that does. If that creates, you know,
come together right now. Over. Yeah. Beautiful. Hey, I got to get going. Beautiful to spend this time with you and the gang.
Peter.
Awesome. Yes.
Thank you for bringing Debbie and Amy. Keep bringing them back if you can, especially Amy. And if she's willing to do hypnosis to like, if she knows she needs to just be in the space of love all the time, give me your brain.
Give me your brain. Awesome. Much love. Christopher, thank you, brother. Always nice to have you there. We hear you. We feel you. And Summer, thanks for holding down the fort.
My pleasure. Keep it coming.
Right.
Love you.
Talk to you soon. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye for now. Yeah, I'm going to read these chats here. Yeah, I joke around. I'm like, the beginning is near. The beginning is near. Woohoo! Thank God. Oh, yay. All right. Well, I know I need to get some food too. I was going to jump out a little while ago. I'm not sure if Jamin's here. Well, if I am going to have to jump on my phone to also connect. Danny, Christopher. Yo, Christopher. Who wants to be the host? Or I'm gonna jump on my phone. All right, I guess I'm jumping on my phone. Ooh, good, I got a message from my email. And my people who are fixing my website. We shall see. Both sides. Ooh, I think my registrations are working now. My logins. Good news. This is working now. Woohoo! Okay. My website is working. Go there now, voter.zone. Let's take over the narrative. That's what we need to do. We take over the narrative to liberate me and you. Let's do it. Oh no, I'm starting to get Jamin's little his singing way of talking is infiltrating my psyche. Okay. Well, I'm very excited. My websites are both live. So I need to go work on my website. I need to go to the bathroom. I'm going to send Jamin a text right now and say, can you come back and be the host? I'm so in love with you all, just so you know. I'm in love with you all. Okay. Jamin. Gotta get some food. I'm the host. Gonna jump on my phone so I can take hosting to my kitchen. We have 2 Christophers. Okay. Mm-hmm. Calling in on my phone now. Right. Calling in, save this chat. In case we won't come back, we save this chat. In case we won't come back. Right. Zoom, 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 zoomy, 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 zoomy. Jamin, we're taking this to another level, my friend. We're taking this to another level, my friend. Do, 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 do. I will join the video. To hear others, please join audio. Over the internet, let's see how this works. Mute me here. So, can I hear me? I can hear me. Okay, I'm out of here. I'll co-host myself. Okay, I am now the host. Summer Rose, I am now the host. Okay. Okay. No. Hello. Yay.
What's going on around here?
Is that Danny?
Yeah, what's going on?
So I actually need to make somebody else the host. I've been on for a bunch of hours and need to make some food. So I thought I had made Jamin the host, and I thought I left the room, but I guess I didn't. Or I think I made him the host, but then I didn't leave the room, so my voice is still on my phone. So I think you're hearing me having a conversation in the background on like one of my accounts.
Yeah, Chris is co-host. But do we have two Christophers in this group?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't think I've ever met Christopher Dennis, but I think I've been talking to him.
Gotcha.
I think I might be getting so confused. All right. Well, I was just checking in, so nobody's talking. Everybody's just on with nothing going on.
Yeah, just holding space, I suppose, for anyone to come in and needs to either speak or yeah.
There is a
So
speaker.
say it again.
Did you say there was a speaker tonight?
No, I don't know. I said I think we're just keeping the room open for anybody who does want to come and speak. There might be a speaker tonight. I didn't get any kind of schedule, and I do want to start catalyzing a bit of a schedule, so we do have at least some known topics of us that we have an interest in, and start getting some people here talking about those things. And wasn't exactly sure how these conversations all work out, but
hey, do you have a campaign website?
At this moment, I don't, because I realized that I actually can't run for city council. I do have an incredible social network that I'm in the process of launching. Yeah, cool. I'd love for you to jump on that and check that out. I just got an email today from my developer that said that the login pages are working again. So that was what I needed to get fixed. So yeah, please jump on it. The one that's nonpartisan is voter, voter.zone, Z-O-N-E. That's nonpartisan, but it has the ability, you sign up, you're immediately in your, the national United States group, and then you're going to be in your state group in terms of like the different groups. And yeah, so and then the other one, the other one is not me, us.family, and that's like for the Bernie Sanders group.
Right. Okay, girl. So
and
what
now
happened?
I'm still editing and,
What happened with your campaign?
Oh, so I don't live in the city of Santa Cruz, so I can't be a city council member. I live in the unincorporated part of Santa Cruz, so I'm actually just going to run for board, county school board, so I can do whatever I need to do. Yeah, so it just shifted. There's actually a seat even open, so I won't have any. It'll be like probably a slam dunk kind of thing. Yeah, so, but I'll share more about that.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, do that. Share when you get going there.
Yeah, but I need to get food because I've actually been on like for a good, 3 or 4 hours hosting, and I need something in my belly. So
have a good evening.
Cool, right on, Danny. And yeah, let me know what you think of the site and how to edit and what not, and we'll go forward. Thanks.
All right.
Appreciate it. And I'll talk to you soon. All right, bye for now.
Hey, Chris. What the hell happened? Got locked out. There we go. I got locked out.